let's ask you something that might seem obvious, but bear with us. Why do companies exist? Like, what's their actual purpose? If you said, to make money, you're not wrong, but you're only half right. And that missing half is literally the reason behind most of the problems we're dealing with right now. Companies, jobs, even entire economies were supposed to serve two masters, not just one. But somewhere along the way, we forgot about the second one. And that forgetting has created this weird world where we can have record profits alongside record homelessness, amazing technology alongside rising depression, and more food production alongside more hunger. Last time, we explored how this happened. Today, we're talking about what these two purposes actually are, how they're supposed to work together, and what you can do, starting today, to help fix this imbalance. Trust us, once you see this, you'll fully understand it. And that's exactly where change begins. So, let's dive into what these two forces actually are, because understanding this changes everything about how you see the world around you. Remember when we talked about how everything successful needs balance between two spectrums? Your phone needs hardware and software. Athletes need physical ability and mental toughness. Even nature needs day and night. Well, the same thing applies to how societies should work. There are two fundamental purposes that need to balance each other out. On one side, we have society's needs, that shared goal that brings everyone together. This is what creates unity, even when we're all different. It's what stops constant fighting between groups, organizations, and countries. Without this common purpose, you just get chaos. Right now, that shared purpose is economic growth. Make more money, increase GDP, boost stock prices, create jobs. It's what CEOs get judged by, what politicians campaign on, what countries compete over. On the other side, we have humanity's needs, and this is where things get interesting. This isn't just about basic survival, though that's part of it. We're talking about people having access to what they actually need to thrive. Good food, safe housing, healthcare that doesn't bankrupt you, education that prepares you for real life, work that feels meaningful, and connections to other people and your community. It's basically Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but applied to how we structure society. People need to feel secure, valued, and like they have opportunities to grow and pursue their dreams. Here's the crucial part. Both sides are supposed to work together. When people's needs are met, they contribute more to economic growth. When the economy is healthy, it should provide resources to meet people's needs. But instead of working together, these two forces are now competing against each other. And economic growth is winning by a landslide. But here's what's wild. It wasn't always like this. If we look back just a few decades, you'll find tons of examples where companies actually started with humanity's needs as their main focus. Take Henry Ford. Yeah, the car guy. When he started Ford Motor Company, his big idea wasn't, let us get rich selling cars to rich people. It was, what if regular working people could afford cars too? Back then, cars were basically luxury items for the wealthy. Ford wanted to change that. He was trying to solve a real human problem. And he paid his workers more than double the standard wage at the time. He did so to reduce the turnover rate, but he also believed his employees should be able to afford the products they were making. He wanted to create a cycle where work actually improved people's lives. And you know what's the crazy part? His wage of $5 a day in 1914 is equivalent to about $160 a day in 2026. That's still higher than the minimum wage in some parts of the country today. Or think about Milton Hershey. Chocolate used to be this expensive luxury that only wealthy people could enjoy. Hershey's whole mission was to mass-produce chocolate so everyone could experience something delicious and sweet. He was literally trying to bring joy to regular people's lives. Even Facebook, when it first started, had this genuine purpose. Mark Zuckerberg wasn't thinking about ad revenue or data collection. He saw how hard it was for college students to connect with each other, especially at big universities. The platform was supposed to help people build relationships and stay in touch. But here's where things get interesting. And this is the part that shows us exactly what went wrong. Ford Motor Company, and the auto industry for the most part, now designs cars with planned obsolescence. They're often built to need replacement every few years instead of lasting decades like they used to. They spend more on marketing to make you feel like you need the newest model than on making cars that actually last longer. Hershey's now uses cheaper ingredients and adds more sugar and artificial flavors to create stronger cravings. And Facebook? Well, We all know what happened there. It became a sophisticated addiction machine designed to harvest your attention and sell it to advertisers. What changed? The companies went public. They started answering to shareholders instead of customers. Success got measured purely by quarterly earnings and stock price growth. And this pattern, this shift from serving humanity to just chasing growth, is exactly what's created the world we're living in today. When you only optimize for one thing, you get really good at that one thing, but everything else starts falling apart. Think about it like this. Imagine a restaurant that only cared about making money. They'd probably use the cheapest possible ingredients, charge the highest prices people would pay, and focus on getting customers in and out as fast as possible. They might make great profits for a while, but the food would be terrible, the experience would be awful, and eventually people would stop coming. The restaurant would fail because it ignored half of its purpose, actually serving good food that people enjoy. That's basically what's happened to our entire society. We've become that restaurant. We're optimizing for the wrong metrics. But here's the good news, and this is where you come in. Because once you understand how this system works, you can start making choices that help tip the balance back toward humanity. You see, individual choices matter way more than we've been told. Not because one person can change everything, but because systems are made up of millions of individual decisions. Every time you buy something, you're casting a vote for the kind of world you want. Every time you choose where to work, what to support, what to ignore, you're helping tip the balance one way or the other. Let's show you exactly what this looks like, starting with the simplest but most powerful change you can make. Right now, most of us are programmed to overconsume in ways we don't even realize. We're surrounded by messages telling us to buy more, upgrade faster, consume constantly. TV ads, social media ads, influencer sponsorships, email marketing, it never stops. But here's something most people don't think about. Every time you buy something you don't really need, you're making yourself poorer while making corporations richer. It's literally a wealth transfer from your pocket to their shareholders. Unless you're already ultra wealthy, buying more stuff doesn't make you richer, it makes you poorer. Let's say that again because it's so important. Buying more than you need makes you poorer and makes corporations richer. Here's the part that makes it even worse. Overspending and overbuying hurt many individuals because often it's putting on credit cards and paying later in installments with very high interest. And as we keep buying, paying off debt, and keep buying, the cycle just repeats itself. We actually end up having less buying power because of additional money we have to pay for interest on credit cards. So the first step is simple. Buy less stuff. Use things longer. Question whether you actually need something or if you just want it because marketing told you to want it. This isn't about living like a monk or never enjoying anything. It's about being intentional with your money instead of letting companies manipulate you into spending it. And here's where it gets really interesting, because what you choose to consume doesn't just affect your wallet. For instance, let's talk about food, because this is where individual choices can have massive collective impact. Right now, we have more chickens on Earth than humans, about 33 billion of them. We raise over 1 billion cattle every year. Factory fish farming has surpassed wild fisheries. The numbers keep growing because that means industry growth and more revenue. But here's what's really happening. Corporations don't mind us overconsume. They want us to. And raising all these animals requires enormous amounts of water, land, and crops to feed them. It creates pollution, contributes to deforestation, and generates greenhouse gases. The average person in Western countries eats about 220 pounds, or 100 kilograms of meat per year. That's almost 2/3 of a pound every single day. Now, imagine if you cut that in half. Just half. You'd still be eating meat regularly, but maybe not with every single meal. If 1 million people did this, grocery stores would notice and reduce their meat orders. If 10 million people did this, the entire industry would have to adjust production. And of course, you can also choose to be vegan as long as you're eating healthy. But it's not just about meat consumption. We can also choose to eat real foods as much as we can, avoiding ultra-processed foods whenever possible. Reducing the amount to once a week or even once a month makes a big difference. Real foods like grains, vegetables, and fruits are much healthier for us, and also have a much smaller carbon footprint compared to ultra-processed foods like fast food, frozen meals, soft drinks, and chips, which are all made from mega food processing factories. Beyond food, there's all of the excessive products and services we're surrounded by. We live in a world where companies produce multiple versions of essentially the same product, where we're constantly pushed to upgrade perfectly functional items. Consider the many subscription services we forget we're paying for, or the fashion industry producing seasonal collections that encourage us to discard clothes that still fit and function well, or the many electronics we buy and replace frequently. This creates a lot of waste. Take electronic waste, for example. Every year we produce over 50 tons worldwide. That's equivalent to dumping over 100,000 plus jumbo jets into landfills. And according to the World Health Organization, less than 25% is properly treated or recycled. The rest are piled up somewhere in the open environment, or even worse, incinerated and burned year over year. Of course, this can be attributed to the increase in population, but it's also largely because of our current habits. All of this excessive production represents resources wasted, money keep taken away from your pockets, all for creating an artificial demand. The second big thing you can do is support companies that are actually trying to balance both purposes. These are called B Corp or social enterprises. They're certified by organizations that verify they meet social and environmental standards while still being profitable businesses. These companies use what's called a triple bottom line. They measure success by profit, people, and planet. Not just profit. Let's give you some examples so you can see what this looks like in practice. Fairphone makes smartphones that are actually designed to be repaired and upgraded. Instead of forcing you to buy a new phone every 2-3 years, they sell phones where you can replace individual parts when they break or upgrade specific components when better ones come out. It's better for your wallet in the long run and way better for the environment. Framework does the same thing with laptops. You can upgrade your RAM, swap out your processor, or replace your screen without buying an entirely new computer. Patagonia is probably the most famous example. They make outdoor clothing, but they also give away 1% of their sales to environmental groups every year. They use sustainable materials, they encourage people to repair their clothes instead of buying new ones, and they actively lobby for environmental protection policies. Tintree plants 10 trees for every item you buy from them. They're directly offsetting the deforestation happening around the world while making clothes from recycled and sustainable materials. And The Body Shop, the global beauty brand, support various causes like fair trade, gender equality, and domestic violence awareness. You can find the full list online, and that list is growing. While sometimes these companies' products are a bit more expansive, they often make better quality products that can last longer. When you buy from them, you're not just getting a product, you're proving to the market that people care about more than just the lowest price. Right now, most companies make consumers only care about price and convenience. So they compete by cutting costs wherever possible, even if it means exploiting workers, damaging the environment, or making products that break quickly. But when companies like Patagonia and Fairphone succeed, it proves that people will pay a bit more for products that align with their values. This creates pressure on other companies to adopt similar practices. It's like voting with your wallet, but for the kind of economy and society you want to live in. If you're in a position to create rather than just consume, this is where things get really powerful. This is people that's business owners, successful entrepreneurs, or anyone that has already accumulated ample of resources. The basics are straightforward. Pay fair wages people can actually live on. Don't overcharge customers just because you can. Don't extract monetary value but provide no real value, like selling online courses or being gurus. But the real opportunity is bigger than that. It's about building businesses that solve real human problems while generating sustainable profits. This is harder than just focusing on profit, no doubt about it. You have to think about more things, consider more stakeholders, sometimes accept lower short-term profits for long-term sustainability. But here's what's interesting. Companies that do this often end up more resilient and successful long-term. They have more loyal customers, more engaged employees, and they're building something sustainable, something with human values, rather than just profiting. And this brings us to the most important point of all. Look, we know it's easy to feel like individual choices don't matter when you're dealing with massive global systems. But every choice you make is part of a larger pattern. When you choose to buy less, use things longer, and support better companies, you're not just changing your own impact. You're contributing to a shift in market demand. Companies pay millions of dollars to track consumer behavior because they know that individual choices, when they add up, determine which businesses succeed and which ones fail. When millions of people start making different choices, entire industries have to adapt. We've seen this happen before. Fair trade certification became a thing because people were willing to pay more for ethically sourced products. The electric car industry took off because early adopters proved there was demand. The same thing can happen with this bigger shift toward businesses that serve both purposes and how we choose to spend our money. Before we wrap up, let's be honest about where we are right now. Over the past few decades, we've created more wealth than any generation in human history. We have trillion-dollar companies that didn't exist when our parents were young. There are more millionaires and billionaires alive today than ever before. By the numbers, society's goal, economic growth, is absolutely crushing it. But what about humanity's side of the equation? The middle class that used to be the backbone of society is shrinking. People who work full-time jobs can't afford rent in the cities where they work. Teachers, nurses need second jobs. Young people are taking on massive debt for education that might not even lead to stable careers. Mental health issues are skyrocketing. People feel more isolated despite being more connected than ever. We're seeing disastrous weather events that would have been once in a century happening yearly. Extreme hurricanes, floods, and heat waves throughout the world, severe droughts in California, loss of major bodies of water at the Great Salt Lake in Utah. The abnormal is becoming normal, and they're affecting hundreds of thousands of people every year. So we have this unimaginable situation where one side of the equation is absolutely soaring, while the other side is actually going backward. And we know what happens when anything becomes too one-dimensional. It eventually destroys itself. Think about it in nature. If a predator species grows too much, it eats all its prey and then starves. If a plant grows too fast without developing strong roots, it falls over. Everything in nature requires balance to survive long-term. Human societies work the same way. We can even look at our history and see this pattern over and over. The Maya civilization became obsessed with elaborate religious ceremonies and building bigger temples, but neglected sustainable agriculture. The Roman Empire focused so heavily on military expansion that it couldn't maintain its infrastructure or economy. The British Empire prioritized extraction and control, but ignored the needs of the people in colonized regions. Every time a society becomes too focused on one goal at the expense of human needs, it eventually hits a tipping point where the system can't hold together anymore. We're seeing early signs of that now. Political polarization, social unrest, environmental breakdown, economic inequality, these aren't separate problems. They're all symptoms of the same imbalance. But here's the difference between us and previous civilizations. We have something they didn't have. We have access to all of human history. We can see these patterns, learn from past mistakes, and choose to do things differently. We're also the most advanced generation ever. We have tools for communication and coordination that previous generations couldn't imagine. We can share ideas instantly across the globe, organize movements, and create change faster than ever before. Most importantly, we're starting to wake up to what's actually happening. More people are questioning whether our current society actually makes sense. More entrepreneurs are building businesses with social and environmental missions. More consumers are choosing companies that align with their values. This conversation we're having right now, it's happening in millions of variations across the world. People are starting to ask the right questions. And that's exactly how change begins, with people recognizing that something is off and deciding to do things differently. Then make small changes that align with that awareness. Buy less stuff you don't need. Use things longer. Support companies that share your values. Choose work that creates value, not just extract it. Share these ideas with people who might be interested. Not everyone will get it right away, and that's okay. But some people will, and they'll start making their own changes. If you're in a position to lead, whether that's running a business, managing a team, or just being someone others look up to, use that influence to model what balanced success looks like, what human values looks like. Most importantly, don't let the scale of the problem overwhelm you. Focus on what you can control, do what feels right to you, and trust that millions of other people are making similar choices. Remember the basic principle and the essential foundation we started with. Nothing ever works with just one dimension. Everything needs balance between at least two spectrums. Our society needs economic growth to function and provide opportunities. But humanity needs that growth to serve real human needs, not just create wealth for its own sake. Both are important, both are necessary, and both can work together if we're intentional about it. We've spent the last few decades focused almost entirely on one side. Now it's time to bring the other side back into balance. It won't happen overnight, but it can happen. And it starts with people like you understanding the problem and choosing to be part of the solution. What do you think? Are you already making some of these changes in your own life? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And if this resonated with you, make sure to like and subscribe because we're going to keep exploring and sharing ways to accelerate this shift and find a balance. Thanks for watching. Always remember, without society, there are no people, but without people, there's no society. They're two sides of the same coin, and we need both to thrive. Take care. See you on the next one.